Well, talks have now stalled between the BC Port Workers Union and the Maritime Employers Association. More than 7,000 workers have been on strike since the weekend, and that's starting to have a significant impact on supply chains and us as consumers. For more this morning, we are joined by trailer Mark Warner. Welcome back, Mark.
Nice to see you again.
So this strike is affecting, not just one, it's 30 ports in BC, including that port in Vancouver. Remind us, how important are these ports to Canadian trade and supply?
Well, they're very important because a lot of our consumer goods have obviously come across from Asia, and the point of entry would be the port of Vancouver, or another one of those bigger ports out there, and also a lot of cars and car parts. So we do tend to like to drive those Japanese or Asian cars. A lot of them would come there, and the auto parts to fix them or to assemble them in Canada might come through that entry. So that's important. Also, a lot of those ports are also useful to ship things to the United States, and so we sort of try to make ourselves to take full benefit of those trade agreements we have with Asia. We sort of have those as entry points into North America, not just to Canada. Mm-hmm. And obviously, the longer the strike goes on, people will start looking at maybe perhaps there are other ways, other ports in the Pacific Northwest in the United States, or even the Gulf Coast ports, or even the East Coast ports that as points of entry to North America. And
it's an important point to remember, because it's not just the things coming in, but it's the things that we have to send out as well. This affects almost every industry. How are businesses and consumers affected now and into the future, down through the summer?
So I think the places where people will see it will be in increased prices. So for the electronic goods or clothing goods that are coming in, again, from Asia largely, you'll be seeing the price increases there. Delays, I think you'll see that. We already have a hard time getting a car, I think, on time. Mm-hmm. Most people do. I think you'll start seeing more delays. We moved in the last whatever it is, 50 years or so, to this just-in-time delivery for assembling things, where people don't hold a lot of inventory, but they really rely on shipments coming through the ports and being put on the rail, on the trains on time. And so anything that screws that up really is felt by consumers and business people immediately.
And it's not just big things like cars, it's groceries, it's parts for some of the things that we need and use every day. Those ports in BC are definitely some of the busiest in the country. There's an estimated $800 million worth of goods that go through those ports every single day. So you've talked about what gets shipped in and out of the ports, but what concerns you most as you watch this strike without a resolution?
Well, I think there's two things. I mean, I think there is this idea of shifting trade patterns. Last couple of years, we've been talking about that railway merger between Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern. In order to take the full benefit of that, you basically have to have this integration of these ports and the rail, and so shipping things into the U.S. all the way through down to Mexico. I think to the extent that people start seeing Canada as unreliable, it's hard for us to really benefit from that. Now, maybe some of the East Coast ports will benefit, in Halifax and Montreal, if goods end up being shipped through the Panama Canal. But I do think we have to worry about that over time. The Americans managed to settle with their dock workers, I think, last month, and hopefully this won't last too long, because I think, already those ports are under fire in the United States. People talk about them being heavily subsidized and diverting trade from the U.S. So we don't want to have too much of a spotlight on British Columbia because of labor issues or port issues at this time, it seems to me.
All right, Mark, always good to have you back. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.